Ladies, gentlemen, those who do not identify, my name is Elite02K, and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to be talking about the Democratic Party is dying. It is Band-Aid, she gone, and most of the young people I know, including a lot of minorities, have more or less aligned themselves with the Republican Party. So we're going to go through it. We're going to do a little bit of a Fox News React video.
Lawmakers, pollsters, and pundits. Now it's time to hear from the voters. It's voters' voices. And with me in the front row, Mary Josephine, an independent, Jamil, Democrat. And in the back row, Teresa, Republican, Stephanie, Democrat. And I understand recently switched to independent, which is not a political party, but certainly a frame of mind. We'll get into it. And Robin, a Republican. For all of you, I know you voted for Trump. Some of you were with me on election night, and welcome back. It's great to see you guys. All right, Jamil, I'm coming to you first. You are a college at the University of Chicago. You are a Democrat. You now call yourself a conservative Democrat. First of all, how is the president doing on his number one promise with getting out the worst of the worst illegal immigrants?
He's been doing a great job so far. I wake up every day and I read the headlines and I get impressed by his creativity, but I also think he can go further, such as with his bid to end birthright citizenship. He could start printing papers for the undocumented children here that are currently being born, and then force the foreign governments of the country of origin to accept those citizenship papers diplomatically. And I also think I go to Chicago and I see the immigration crisis at the forefront in front of my school on the corners. I don't think we should wait until unpopular mayors like Brandon Johnson lose their elections. I honestly think if mayors like him obstruct Tom Homan or President Trump, they should be arrested. They should be indicted, put on trial, because they weren't afraid to put him on trial when he was just running for office. So I would say let the voters in the community talk about, is using taxpayer dollars against common sense policies, is it illegal? And I think you would see that Mayor Brandon Johnson, so many other mayors would be criminally charged.
What are you studying? I came up with several careers right there. You could be a political analyst, you could be an attorney. Thank you for all of that. And it sounds like you've made a migration now, at least in your mind and politically. We'll have to see how you vote in the future, but that's so interesting. We have another Democrat among us, and that is Stephanie. And I understand now you're leaning more independent, maybe not exactly one party or the other. You just heard from Jamil. What would you like to add to that?
So I think the country is the most divided it's ever been in my lifetime.
Wrong. Most people think the country is the most divided it's ever been. I would like to believe, based on my experiences in real life, that is not true. The average black person, the average white person, the average Hispanic person, Chinese person, very, very civil with each other. We don't see a whole lot of hate crimes. Racism is being held alive in America by the people continuing to talk about it. Politics is a very tricky subject because it's pretty much which leader, well, it should be which leader best fits my interest, but it's which. All right, so the right thinks that all the left are retards, very overly emotional retards, and some of them are. And the left thinks that everybody on the right is a bunch of bigoted, homophobic, racist Nazis. And there's a few of them, but that's by no means the case. The Nick Fuentes types, which nobody on the right even likes Nick Fuentes. He has his little merry band of boyfriends. That's about it. But really, it's the racism thing is the misled black people who think that America really wants to see them fail, and I don't think that's the case anymore. Many friends I've talked to don't think that's the case. They love this country. This country should and rightfully does most of the time treat you well. So I don't think America's as divided as everybody says, at least.
Democratic Party doesn't represent my values as much anymore. I think it's shifted so much from kind of the Clinton era party that I grew up on. And I think now it's kind of representing these really elitist, maybe even socialist ideals. I'm a mother of 4 kids. I have real concerns. I have, really immediate issues that I want to make sure are addressed.
Absolutely.
And I think as an independent, I can use my own brain. I can have an open mind and a critical ear and look at candidates for who they are and what they represent, and if that mirrors my values. As far as adding on to Trump's border policies, immigration, birthright citizenship, I think the Constitution was meant to be reevaluated and debated. And this incredible country that we live in is built on discourse and debate and discussion and smart people coming together to solve big problems in a constructive way so that we can have this incredible liberal democracy that we live in, which is a give and a take. You have to balance your...
Into the republic for which it stands, we are a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. At least we shouldn't be.
Independent identity with serving the good of a greater society as well, and we've lost that. We have this kind of entitled, I deserve everything attitude, and I think that's kind of ruling the roost right now.
Well, it's interesting. You were both you and Jamil, obviously, Jamil, you're originally from here in New York City, I believe, and you're now in Chicago. You guys are from sanctuary cities. So as former or current kind of moving Democrats, if you will, it doesn't entirely surprise.
Take a look at how normal this panel looks.
Former or current.
They all look like normal people that you would come around in your daily life. Well-represented people. None of them are hardcore Democrats. They're all pretty much independents. They're moving to the right. This just shows that the only people who are still Democrats are women over 200 pounds with highlighter hair colors, or women with over 200 pounds and really low credit scores, whores, old ladies, and dudes who wear masks while going down on their girlfriends. They're narcissistic girlfriends. So this is normal America, including the young black man.
Kind of moving Democrats, if you will. It doesn't entirely surprise, I would imagine, most people because of what you're living through right now.
I don't put my kids on the subway. I don't walk alone at night anymore in New York City. So it's not
imagine
the city that we lived in.
It's dumb in the first place. Why would you walk anywhere at nighttime?
Homeland Security Department numbers now show that in Trump's first 2 weeks in office, today is day 16, agents have arrested nearly 9,000 people for immigration violations, and there have been nearly 5,700 deportations or removals. Border Czar Tom Homan had this warning for sanctuary cities.
Sanctuary cities are responsible for deaths of thousands of young children throughout my career. And we're going to sue them, we're going to hold them. And look, if he's got to go to the Supreme Court, that's what President Trump wanted to do. He will end sanctuary cities. Sanctuaries are sanctuaries for criminals, bottom line.
All right, Teresa, I want to go directly to you. I mean, one of the things that we've seen with Tom Homan, the border czar, is immediate. He got started before anything because he didn't need a Senate confirmation to hold the role that he has.
I think this is a very sensitive topic, and I am a little wishy-washy on it because I believe that America is home of the free, home of the brave. We're a melting pot. My great-grandparents came over from Italy, and that's important for who we are as a country.
Correct, but your first act of entrance in this country cannot be illegally. It can't. If you're willing to come here and breaking the law doing so, what else are you willing to do? Not all illegal migrants are criminals. Some of them end up being that way. And you're still breaking the law. Nobody changed the law. They had 4 years as Democrats to try to slime ball their way into a more open border or increasing the numbers of passage into the country. They didn't. They just said, fuck it, we're going to open the border. We're not going to enforce any of the border laws. Buenos dias, Mexicanos. That's literally what happened.
Country. But that's why I voted President Trump, because he has been so adamant about his decisions, about what he believes. He stands by it. And that's why I voted for him, because for someone who maybe is uncertain about certain issues, you need a leader that is going to put his foot down and say, okay, I'm going to help you out. Let me make the decision and let me do it fast and the right way.
You know, you told my team, and I thought this was, we don't have to go into the whole story, but you and your husband were kind of talking last evening.
I didn't know if you were
getting ready for today. Oh, no. My team is copious note takers.
It's like a college party
Give us
that's gotten out of hand. And the only way to bring it back is to kick everyone out. And you want, your food, your alcohol back. You want your clean place back.
Wow.
And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, and you said, look, it may seem like, a light way to compare it, but what you're talking about is sovereignty in your own home.
Yep.
And we don't take that lightly. Maybe we have in recent years, but not now. Mary Josephine, I know that you say you're an independent. You voted. Had you ever voted Republican before now?
I was a Republican previously, yes. And what I felt, many years back that the Republican Party had left me. It didn't really have the values that I had. I speak for all Americans. I think that Americans generally are united in everything. And unfortunately, politicians have forced this upon us. I mean, shame on the politicians for many years, not handling the immigration policies and not handling what was happening to our country. I mean, Reagan, back in the day, gave amnesty to so many people, and we thought that the border would be secure. We thought we were going to handle this illegal immigration policy. We didn't. And then we had manuals given out to Mexico during the Bush administration on how to get here, and, for humanitarian reasons. And, we fast forward to the last administration, and it's a free-for-all. I mean, our country is not safe. It's a national security issue. I left New York City to move to North Carolina, and I was telling Robin earlier that here I am thinking I'm leaving New York City because it would be safer elsewhere. And we have Venezuelan gangs doing home invasions 2 or 3 houses down from us. I mean, it's a scary situation. I feel for everybody that's here. I feel that if you came here, you wanted to work hard, you want to provide for your families, absolutely you should. But it's been so out of hand that everything's been given to everybody but Americans that I think you have this real anger with the American people. And what Trump did was he united all these different political parties. It's people who never thought they would vote, as for a Republican president, did so because they want a safe country. They want New York City to be the way it used to be. They want it to be safe. They want it to be clean. They want to be able to go to a restaurant, have a good time, not worry about walking down the street. It's unfortunate that we're in this situation.
Well, that is so critically important, the ground that you just laid, because we talked about Democrats shifting. We had not talked about Republicans feeling like they had maybe been left behind. And you mentioned Robin. She's in the back row to the right here. So I know you guys spent some time together in the green room, maybe even previously. When you hear her speaking, I want to know the texture of the conversation you had, because I don't think that we have anything in our notes other than Republican for you, and I knew you on election night.
Yeah, we were just discussing how this issue, I've said that I think the issue of immigration is a really unique issue because I don't think it's as much a political issue as people have certain feelings about it based on their own experiences in their life.
By the way, excuse me, I see everybody nodding with you.
Cool.
Go ahead, Robin.
I think, I don't know that it's a Democrat-Republican issue as much as what we've experienced as citizens in this country. So some people who are here on green cards, they have a different view than people who are here that feel that they're getting their resources taken away from them. I also think that as a parent, it's a very different situation. I have a 12-year-old son. Hi, Rafa. And I I worry about him in the city. I've gotten emails, from his school that were warning about incidents where, there were gang members stealing phones as they were walking to school.
Oh.
So it's definitely something that I have feelings about based on my own experiences and as a parent. And I think that's what we were kind of discussing. Except for Jamil. But we were discussing as moms.
I secretly think, and maybe it's not a secret, Jamil's going to rule the world and one
totally
day
surviving a panel
be an inspiration
of women.
for everybody's kids.
Look at him. That's the next Obama. That man can talk. He's black. He's got gray hair and a gray smile. That leftists would vote for that man immediately. I'm interested to see what his opinion is, though.
All right, and I want to come back to you too, Jamil, because you mentioned something about Brandon Johnson, who's one of the most far-left mayors in the country. And in fact, Democrat leaders, including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, along with local mayors like Brandon Johnson and Boston's Michelle Wu, have repeatedly expressed their defiance, their resistance to Trump's immigration crackdown. Watch this.
We also have a law in the books in Illinois that says that our local law enforcement will stand up for those law-abiding, undocumented people in our state. We're doing the right thing, and we're not going to help federal officials just drag them away.
Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal.
Question. Where is this man's neck? Can I zoom in on this? Where is this man's neck? You ain't got no neck, cousin. It just had. He legitimately looks like the niece of next man. That's tough. That is tough.
Federal officials just drag them away.
Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal law enforcement around federal immigration law.
Federal government can implement their laws, and we are not forced to participate in their actions.
What this administration is attempting to do, he is attempting to get us to surrender our humanity. We're not going to do that in Chicago.
You know what is interesting with Democrats, and Jamil, I'd be curious to get your take on this. They're willing to break the law to show that they care. And Republicans and independents, every other person who may have voted for Trump on this issue doesn't see it that way. You don't have to break the law to help people. What's your take?
I think when you have a politician such as Brandon Johnson, their number one goal should be to be understood, and that's using their bully pulpit, that's advocating for the people that pay tax dollars to them. And you see in many instances, he uses race to scapegoat a lot of the ideas that he has. He tries to use emotional appeal such as our humanity. But I think when I'm 23 years old, I've been in college for about 4 years, and when I'm walking to Target near my college, I see immigrants, a young mother with 2 children laying out on the sidewalk. Me walking by them and us walking by them as like young people, that diminishes our humanity every single day. Or even so, my family that are trying to buy college tickets to come see me graduate in the spring, they want to buy hotel rooms. But the issue is some of the hotel rooms near us has shut down to house illegal immigrants. So it's always, whose humanity are you looking out for? Wow. And why not us, that we're paying so many tax dollars, sales revenues to Brandon Johnson to represent us. And every time we try to ask him a question, we get the runaround on some emotional appeal about other people who do not pay taxes to him.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, it comes back to what you said, those personal experiences that people are having. One of the things when you talk about, and how I hear you, Jamel, is that it's not just losing our humanity that people can kind of grade and say, yeah, we look terrible to the rest of the world, but that inner soul part of knowing that hundreds of thousands of children have gone missing in our country because the former administration's federal government agencies didn't bother to keep up with them. Like that feels personal to all of us. Robin, I want to get a quick thought from you, and then I'm going to show you some lost.
I'm curious. Grok might be able to answer this. Grok says. So reports from 2023 mention figures around 85,000 children that the Department of Health and Human Services had lost contact with after they were released to sponsors. This was often misconstrued as children missing in the sense of disappearance, but it actually refers to HHS losing contact with them after placement with sponsors. However, by 2024, some sources, including posts on X and articles from conservative media, could be biased, claimed the number had escalated significantly, with figures like 320,000 or 438,000 being cited. These numbers appear to be based on broader interpretations or exploitations from various reporters and do not solely indicate children who have physically disappeared. The problem with this is those are minors. Those children were often not with their parents. They were released to sponsors, which is, say, the people that they came with, the group that they came with, other people such as like the migrant help centers in Chicago and in New York City. That's a problem because you don't know what happened to these minors. You don't know if they went to a decent home, if they're not living on the streets, if they're not being sex trafficked, if they're not being exploited for slave labor. You just don't know, and that in itself is a problem, even if those numbers are not accurate.
Lawsuits that are folding out now.
Yeah, I mean, I
show you some lawsuits that are folding out now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one of the issues I struggle with all of this is that I'm Jewish, and, you know, during the Holocaust, there were ships of Jewish children that came to our country.
Correct.
In an attempt to escape death, you know, and they were turned away. And, you know,
died.
What's that?
And they all died.
And they all died. So it tugs on your heartstrings a little more when you talk about the children, you know. And certainly there's the thought of, well, if the parents are coming here and, you know, illegally, then.
But those ships were coming legally.
Those ships were coming legally.
And I'm also a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, and I'm a huge patriot, and I'm so thankful and I'm sorry that I just interrupted you, but America opened its doors after the Holocaust when my grandparents had nowhere to go home to and nobody else would let them in after they were survivors of a genocide. And I'm so grateful. And they came in legally and they worked really, really hard for their entire lives to make a life here. It was really important that we assimilated to Western values and learn about this country. And legal immigration to America is incredibly important and valuable. And for those who want to be here and love this country and want to contribute to society and receive from society, it's incredible. I mean, my kids have friends whose ancestors come from all over the world. That's an amazing thing. But there's law and order in this society, and we need to abide by it. And maybe the laws need to be revised so it's easier to get through the process or more expeditious. And that's the job of Congress and the Senate, and it's hard work, but our officials should be doing hard work.
You know, just listening to all of you, there are so many touch points for, I get it now. There was almost no other.
See, this gives me hope that the average American is smarter than what the media pretends that we are. If you look at CNN or MSNBC or NBC, it is literally interpretable by children, and that's because their audience are children. They are effectively so slow-minded that they can only think emotionally, like a kid. When they're upset, mom didn't let me have my toy, I'm going to go cry in my room, I'm going to throw a tantrum. That is exactly what the far left does. A lot of middle road Democrats do have some fair points in some fair critiques about the Republican Party and Trump, and Trump's not a perfect person, but at the same time, it is literally the lesser of two evils, and it is unfair for you to say that the Republican Party is the worst party compared to Democrats. It's not the case by any means at all.
Voice, but to go forward from where we are now. And Donald Trump saw that. He's president now. He sees and he hears you. Just a quick show of hands. In the first 16 days, how do you think he's doing? What grade? Actually, no show of hands. Give him a grade, Jamil.
I'd say an A.
Robin.
I gave it 10.
That's an A. Yes.
I would say A+.
A plus.
Yeah, I mean, the bar was really low, so I'll also say an A.
A++.
A plus plus. Well, that's an average that will get you anywhere above an A. God bless you all. Thank you for being so open with all that you're facing, and as voters, why you did what you did and why you continue to believe that Trump can get it done. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
That's the end of the video. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you do so, I will put your name in a little magical hat. Actually, I think it's Abraham Lincoln's tall hat. And I will pull your name out, whoever it is. And the winner gets my name. Autism. The winner gets my kidney and my right testicle. No, they cannot have the left one. That one's my favorite. His name is Ernie.